Hi and welcome back to Stealth Security. So in today's video, we are going to look at the appointment box. This box is the first box from Tier 2. If you don't know, we are doing a walkthrough of every single box that we can find on Hack the Box. So we're starting with very easy boxes. We have finished Tier 0 and you can find all the videos under the playlist. So I have started the pawn box and the target. Let me copy the IP address. So as usual, we will start with the ping command and see if we can connect to the target. Okay, we can establish a connection of the target. Now, as usual, we have to run an nmap scan. So let me switch to sudo. Okay, so nmap, I want to scan every single port and the version. And it's a verbosity. For speed, I'm going to say T5 and the IP address. Let's wait for a couple of minutes and see what ports are discovered. We can see that the nmap has already discovered the port 80. So that means there is some kind of a web server running. So whenever we find a web server, the next step that we do is we try to find if there are any exposed directories or files like index.php or admin panel or something like that. And the tool we will use for that is GoBuster. So let's see what else is open. Okay, so nmap has finished scanning. It has found only one open port. And in terms of the servers, it's running HTTP and Apache 2.4.38. Okay, that's interesting information. So the next thing we should do is open a web browser and go to port 80 and see what it is. I'm not giving the port 80 because it's by default it's 80 when you open an IP address in a browser. Okay, we have found a login page. But anyway, let's use GoBuster and let's try and see if there are any other exposed files or directories, because that's the usual step that we do when we discover a web application running. So if you don't know, GoBuster is a tool that will help us to find directories, subdomains, and a lot of other exposed components in a web server. So let's quickly look at the help command. GoBuster will be pre-installed in both Kali and Parrot. So if you're using one of them, you should find GoBuster already. Okay, so we can find a DAR, which is used for directory or file enumeration, then DNS for DNS subdomain enumeration. We are interested in directory or file enumeration. So usually when we use GoBuster or any other brute force tool, we will need a word list. So here I'm going to go and find the sec lists. So cd user shared word lists. I should find sec lists here. Yeah. So on the sec list, I'm looking for discovery and web content. There should be something called directory small. So let me do an ls and grep it. So basically I'm doing a filter and looking for small. So I don't want to run a long scan. I want to do a simple scan with GoBuster to see what I can find. So directory list 2.3. Yeah, here we go. This is what we need. Okay, I'll copy that. So for GoBuster directory enumeration, dir, let me look at the help. I want to make sure I use the flags properly. So what is the flag to give a URL? It's -u. So -u and the word list. Okay, we got what we need. So GoBuster dir, u will be HTTP. Let me get the IP address one more time. It's 10.129. .154.221. Okay, now the word list. We are in the directory within seclist. That's why I'm simply using this name. If you're using this word list from the root, you'll have to specify the full path. So please keep that in mind. Okay, now we are ready. Let's do an enumeration for directories. As you can see, GoBuster has already picked some directories like images, CSS, JavaScript. This is going to take a while because there are 87,000 combinations to go through. So let's quickly look at the questions. What does the acronym MySQL stands for? It's Structured Query Language. Okay, so I'm assuming this box is related to SQL injection because that's why it's asking me questions related to SQL. So the directory enumeration that we are doing right now might be pointless, but in real world scenarios, this is the steps that we go through. Okay. So what is one of the most common types of SQL vulnerabilities? It's SQL injection. What is the 2021 OWASP top 10 classification for this vulnerability? Okay, that is a question for which we have to search and find the answer to. 2021 OWASP top 10 classification. Okay, we found the answer here. It's AO3 2021 injection. Okay, interesting. If you don't know what OWASP top 10 is, it's a list of top 10 web vulnerabilities that is published by the OWASP Foundation. So you can get the full list here. So broken access control, if you have not configured access properly to a web application, that's one of the top vulnerabilities. Then cryptographic failures, injection. This is our SQL injection. And insecure design, there are a lot more. So if you want to fully understand the OWASP top 10, we can go through this list. It's owasp.org/top 10. That's the URL. Okay, so let's go back to the question and answer it. Okay, what does nmap report as a service and version that are running on port 80 of the target? We have already found that. Let's go up to our nmap scam. Okay, here it is. Apache HTTPD 2.4.38. Okay, that's wrong. Okay, what does nmap report as a service and version that are running on port 80 of the target? Oh, we have to include Debian. Debian is not a service or the version, it's an operating system. But anyway, that's what they are expecting. What is the standard port used for the HTTPS protocol? It's 443. So 80 is HTTP, whereas 443 is HTTPS. What is a folder called in web application terminology? Directory. What is the HTTP response code is given for not found errors? It's 404. GoBuster is one tool used to brute force directories. What switch do we use? Okay, they are expecting us to use GoBuster, which is good. What switch do we use with GoBuster to switch by? We are looking to discover directories and not subdomains. Directories, it's dir. Subdomains, it's DNS. So it's dir. What single character can be used to comment out the rest of the line in MySQL? Okay, so for this, you need a little bit of context. Let me quickly explain to you how SQL injection works. So basically, SQL is structured query language. It's a database that hosts information like usernames and passwords and all that. So since the questions were related to SQL, I'm assuming this web application is powered by SQL. So what happens is usually amateur developers, what they do is they directly take the user's input from here and plug it into their database query. So for example, if there is a query saying select star, which means select everything from the table name, in this case, let's say users, where username is equal to admin and password equal to, let's say, pass123. So when you execute this query, SQL will return all the users. Hopefully, this should only match one user. If you make sure that username does not contain duplicates, they should only match one query. So whenever there is a username called admin and there is a password, as long as this is a right password, it should return the users list. So from there, there'll be a logic which will check maybe for some other parameters and then tell you if this login was successful or not. So what amateur developers will do is, rather than pre-populating this query, they will simply use your input, whatever you type in here, and append it to this query. So this is how SQL injection happens. Now what we can do is, if we know that this kind of vulnerability exists, we can simply use a comment and say select star from users where username equal to admin, and we close this. So this is a comment character, which means everything that comes after this is irrelevant. SQL will not consider this. The two-line comment is this. So if this web application is not built properly, we can simply use something like this. And now the query becomes select star from users where username equal to admin without looking at the password. So this means theoretically you can gain access into this web application if it is vulnerable. So this is what we are going to test. Okay, so let's answer this question. What's the single character? It's hash. So if user input is not handled carefully, it could be interpreted as a comment. Use a comment to log in as admin without knowing the password. What is the first word on the web page return? Okay, they're asking me to use a comment and log in as admin. So whenever we find these kind of username password scenarios, we use some default combinations like admin, administrator password, guest, and guest as password. So here they're asking me to use admin along with a comment. So what I'll do here is I'll use apostrophe. So basically I'm ending the query with this hash. Now if I type login, it might ask for a password because here in the front end they have validation to make sure that you enter both the username and password, but it's irrelevant because here if this web application is vulnerable, it won't consider anything after admin. So everything else will be a comment. So this should work. Okay, here we go. That's all it took. So this is our flag. I copy that. So I hope you understand how SQL injection works. But what are they asking for here? If user input is not handled carefully, it could be interpreted as a comment. Okay. Use a comment to log in as admin without knowing the password. What is the first word on the web page returned? It's congratulations. Is that what they're looking for? Okay, I'm surprised that's even a question because that's where the flag is. Submit the root flag. Here you go. Okay, appointment has been pawned. Okay, let's see what happened with our GoBuster process that we have been running for a while. Okay, it's still running, but have you found anything interesting? Oh, we have found images, CSS, JS, vendor, fonts. Okay, so you get the idea. Whenever we run an Nmap scan and find that there is a web server running, the next obvious step that we should do is try and see if there are any open entry points using GoBuster. So, I hope this video helped you to understand how SQL injection works. If you're a complete beginner in cybersecurity, do check out our security starter course. It's a 5-day program with some hands-on labs to give you some strong foundations in offensive cybersecurity. So we have some great ratings and we also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So go ahead and try this course. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll see you soon with a new topic. Cheers.